This is an unprecedented, it depends podcast week because I get to do two of them live on site in Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas at Google Cloud Next 2025. And my second guest for today is none other than Ben Siniora. Ben, such a pleasure. Thank you for coming to this episode.
Absolutely.
And Ben, and why I love having Ben on this is because he's an end user, he's a customer. A lot of times I talk to analysts and vendors, but Ben, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Ben Siniora. I am Vice President of IT for Sales and Marketing at Volkswagen Group of America. I'm NAR-based, I'm North American, responsible in many of the activities that happen in our organization, IT-wise. I've been with the company for 12 years, so it's been quite a journey and a good one, I appreciate it.
And you also have some background in Canada, right?
Yeah, I do serve as their current CIO, responsible. So I do a lot of trips between the US and Canada and how we service that organization.
Got it. One of the major hallmarks I've seen of Volkswagen recently is this MyVW app, and it has generative AI assistant. I've seen some videos. Can you talk about that? Is that one of your projects?
Sure, yeah. Well, that's the project that got us here to begin with, from a Google Next perspective. Okay. And we had a journey with Google. It started about 3 years ago. I was responsible in the CTO role at that time in the organization, not my current role, a previous role. And we engaged in a research and development type of mode, kind of an open-minded opportunity, what's next, what's opportune, and what can we build on from a tech perspective, technology perspective. So, the relationship grew stronger, and eventually we discovered what we needed to consider, which is the AI space that we were not in at the time. So, when you operate in a research and development type of thinking as a technologist, you have to be very open-minded to what's next, what's opportune that you can actually capitalize on. So that's what really started the relationship, and it's almost 3 years ago. And that's how long it takes.
So almost 3 years ago when you started, did you have I'm imagining a greenfield, like the choice of cloud provider, the choice of tools. How did you decide to move it to the cloud and pick Google Cloud?
Got it. So you're talking about why did we pick to work with Google Cloud?
Yes,
I just want to make sure I capture that properly.
Right.
The tool sets that's available for us to consider were significant. So something you got to go in there with a way of operating outside the normal way of doing things in an IT perspective. Right. So we found that in the relationship, and that was very, very critical in there. So did a lot of learning, did a lot of building together, not independently, to actually get what we are today. So we looked at it from an architectural perspective for what can we bolt on into our technical landscape, and there's a lot of good things there. A lot of good things that make sense for us.
I see. I have seen that, by the way, talking to some other clients, that Google has a very good approach to working with their customers. They're more like partners rather than customers. They work hand in hand, and Google's been developing a lot of capabilities.
Yeah, partnership's the key word on it. I mean,
I see.
I can tell you one thing: if you want to have an open mind to working, beyond 8 hours a day, things of that nature, you have to collaborate with a partner, not just necessarily just a customer base activity. So that was very good. That was very good and successful.
That's amazing. So in the MyVW app, what are the generative AI capabilities?
So you got to take a look at MyVW app's a project that started a while back. So we've had an app available for for the customers, our customers here in the U.S. and obviously in other countries. But let's just talk U.S. because this is where it's made out of.
So the app has existed predates Gemini. It's been there for
absolutely.
How long?
It's been a few years now. It's been a few years now.
And it runs in the car, in a dashboard, and on a mobile, or?
No, it's on the mobile. Certainly. It's on your phone. Whatever it is, whether it's iOS-based or Android-based, it's there for you on this one. So, but long story short, what we were able to adopt is the virtual assistant that we topped it on top of the MyVW app. And this is the conversational opportunity between the customer and the car about what is the status of what's happening, how can I request a specific thing. So this was very critical. This was very important for us.
So what is the input from the car into the Gen AI, and what output is it deriving from that?
So the use case is about an owner's manual.
Owner's manual.
The owner's manual that's in the glove compartment.
Right.
It's hardly used. You know, it's hardly looked at by the drivers. You know, they get a brand new car, they just drive and got good, you got good quality product that you might not need any assistance on for many years. So this was a good use case for us to adopt in terms of what can we produce that's something the customer wants to find out about their car. So that's the engagement model, and that's the reason behind it. So that's the use case of success that we have so far.
So I can do a natural language thing. I can say, this dashboard light just came on, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And then
you'll discover it based on what the information is from the owner's manual.
Owner's manual. Yeah. So that's one use case. But what about the runtime, like telemetry that is being generated? Is that?
Yeah, we look at that, and that's in the connected services space. That's a different type of area of responsibility on that side of the house. So it's you're looking at a slightly different sphere than just a specific customer experience when it comes to the use case that I just spoke about. So
I see.
The use cases are limitless. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's I'm being very open about what you can apply it to. It's so much. It takes time, it takes an effort, and it's got to be a good use case that everybody's going to use and utilize and as universal as possible. So it's this was just the first good use case that we chose to adventure into.
Right. So also enterprises have to take a very structured approach. You cannot just say, oh, let's just try this experiment and just throw that in, right? You have to have compliance and safety and all of those things important.
So we're bound by making sure we meet every piece of regulation we have internally and government reasons and so forth. But the trick to the whole thing for us internally as IT people, as a technologist, I consider myself a technologist first, before I even consider myself an IT executive, to be honest with you.
I see.
You got to take a look at it architecturally, where you are today and where do you want to be. And, so we were able to create an enterprise agentic AI architecture specifically. And this is necessary for success, because you're not going to. So earlier today, in the discussion here, Sanjeev, we talked about building and learning, right? I said it's a two-way street. It's not like I'm going to just build and then I'll figure out learning, or I'm just going to learn this whole thing and eventually build it, because I think you can get stuck in one of those things. So we did it in both things. So architecturally, we had to redefine how we wanted to do this for that specific use case. And you got to go in there with an open mind, a lot of collaboration between, the Google certainly representatives we worked with, and the engineers that we had on our site with us. So it was pretty good.
So since you are a technologist, which is music to my ears, so maybe we can geek out a bit. I know you're not at liberty to talk a lot about internals. But Gemini 2.5 just came out.
With the 24x capability,
Yeah, and then 2 million context window length. So the fact that there's a new model out which is hugely more performant, what's your strategy to bring new models in, either from Google or from third party, and then evaluate them, because cost can vary a lot, and I'm just curious, like, how do you handle this fast, rapid change in the model space?
So, we got a few AI engineers that really know what they're doing and they're talking about. So, we do a proper assessment for how we want to take a look at technologies. So you can't wing it all the time. Sometimes you got to take the risk of at least working with somebody that's capable to do the job with you. But we do assessments. We do assessments of technologies. Whether it's through reading, through speaking to analysts, through speaking through specific IT personnel that can give some of that good feedback, and off you can go from there. We're a big company. There's a lot of IT resources that we have, a lot of skills and capabilities. So it's and that sometimes generates a lot of opinions, good opinions.
Google has a lot of databases: Spanner, AlloyDB, Cloud SQL, BigQuery, and then of course Firestore, Bigtable, the whole series of them. What is your data foundation for this MyVW app?
Well, we're working with Google also on the GCP, our Google Cloud Platform, and that's a specific opportunity for us to dive into further data as we progress. You want to modernize what you have going forward, and you have to have the right structure for it. I think you're very right how you mentioned in terms of Google has all these tools.
Yeah.
And, you might be choosing to do, to use a different type of AI from maybe a different company, a third party, who knows.
Yes.
So you got to couple that properly. So that's, goes back to my initial discussion with you in terms of the multi-tiered AI agentic architecture that's necessary, because you want to bolt it on and not necessarily mangle it together.
Yes.
So this was very critical on it. So.
Okay. So we've talked about the cloud, we've talked about the models, we've talked about the databases. Let's talk about agentic piece, because you mentioned it's an agentic. What is an AI agent in your mind?
Well, it could be, like I said, it could be third party, it could be Google, it could be anybody.
What does it do? How is it different?
Well, it depends on who makes it, right, and what's intended. You can actually design your own agent to do what you want it to do. So that's kind of a new space, a new sphere for how you want to do things internally for any company. So there's a lot more to be discovered there, but you have to have the foundational pieces for it. So that's interesting. It's going to be very interesting in the next 6 to 9 months. But as long as you can create your own and translate that to a business process or a business successful final product, then that's how it's going to work. So you're going to have to use multi-agents. It's as simple as that.
Can you talk about some statistics like usage and how's the customer reaction and acceptance, adoption?
It's very positive, exceptionally positive in the 90% plus from what we were able to gather back from the remember, you got 200,000 plus users of the
how many?
200,000 plus.
200,000.
With the current AI assistant that we have put in. So it's going to generate. It's generating a lot of feedback that we have to study that as well.
Oh wow!
There's a lot of positivity there that makes sense for us. So it's we're very. I mean, that takes a lot of time to actually digest that. You actually should use an AI agent to help you, digest that. But
absolutely.
Eventually,
Take all that feedback, feed it to a model, and then get the.
You got to rank it too. That you can use Gemini, Flash for that. So it's like I said, you need multiple agents, multiple tools to do multiple things. And if you are successful in doing that proper ranking of how you use this tool to do this and that tool to do that,
I love it.
Then you would be ahead of the game.
I see.
Let me just put it down.
Is AI governance a big topic for you, or is it? How do you see AI governance? Is it an offshoot of data governance, or is it something different?
I wouldn't say it's an offshoot. It can have its own
extension.
It can have its own extension.
I see.
Listen, I was in the business of making sure we get something working and running. We certainly followed a lot of security protocols and governance protocols that we had to do.
Right.
But you have to operate in a different mode in that research and development. Initial stages. So you have to govern. You have to govern properly. And obviously governance is also a big word when it comes to I would say guarding the results of an AI, right? So, or grounding it. And we do that. We do that in how we aggregate the data, and once we look at it, we guard it properly, so it's producing a good final X product for the customer to engage with.
I see. And in this conference, Google has gone all into agentic. There's an agent development kit. There's agent space to search structured and unstructured data. There is agent gallery, agent garden, agent engine. How do you see, the question I have is, sometimes I feel like deep down I have a little bit of an itch that maybe it's overcomplicating things, there's just too many moving parts now. Do you get that feel, or what's your thought?
No. This is I'm in technology, so you're going to get bombarded with a lot of information, and you're going to get bombarded with a lot of tools out there from many companies, many partners of Google, as an example, even in that space. So no, that stuff doesn't scare me. I don't have to use all of it by any means, and to be honest with you, we gotta carefully select, and we will, and kind of go on from there. So the more the merrier, as long as you guard what you want to use and how you want to use it.
Okay, Ben, I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose, not at this event, but even generally speaking, it's like last weekend before we came here, Meta's Llama 4 came out, and now it's supported in Google Cloud. So So my question to you is, how do you keep up with this barrage of new information? What's your technique to stay on top of things?
We compete with ourselves, in terms of how we know. Certainly in the tech space, I can only focus on who we are and what we are, and it's, we have a deep landscape to worry about. So do our own homework, to be honest with you.
Right.
Other people, other companies, they can do whatever they want. Certainly.
So before we end this conference, this episode, I'm curious, what were your highlights of this conference?
Well, we had our vehicle downstairs.
Which
so
one?
there was it's the ID Buzz.
ID Buzz.
Yeah.
I see.
The new Buzz, and it's electric vehicle.
I see.
Our van, and it's a significant part of the showcase. And it's really good to see all the visitors that visited it, and some of the prominent people that came through to see it. So this was a very good thing for us as a brand, as a company, and certainly as an IT department.
So and the Buzz has. Are you showing the app? The MyVW app?
You can see the experience. You can see the experience as you go through multiple stations around the car.
Okay. So that's one. Any other highlights?
It's on the tech side, like I said, these conferences, are a way to showcase the new stuff and the stuff that's present, but certainly the new stuff. So it's a highly informative conference. We're participating as an exhibitor, and happy to do that, and be part of this thing. So this was very good for us.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming to this episode. I will hopefully see you next year.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. This has been another exciting episode of the It Depends podcast. Ben Siniora, all the way from Detroit, Michigan.
Correct.
Here in Vegas. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.